Trump is crazy and he drives me crazy too. I have two clients we have been negotiating the deal with for half a year and we have prepared their molds. Also, we have several clients who place stable orders every month. They all informed us in the past few days that they will suspend the processing. This is the real plight factories are facing when the increased tariffs come.
干外贸的现在
The sky is falling for those working in foreign trade now. Employees are forced to take off, and the ones who are affected are the grassroots. All the physical stores are closed, and they can't sell anything. China's economy has been in a downturn in recent years, and the four first-tier cities of Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen are no exception. In these cities, business closures and employee salary cuts have become the norm, with the economic situation becoming increasingly severe. Shanghai is China's largest economic and financial center and has always been known as Greater Shanghai. However, now it's lost its former prosperity and its three major commercial streets have all declined. To make it worse, as the China-US tariff war continues to escalate, export-oriented small and medium-sized enterprises are facing a survival crisis, with US orders plummeting and a large backlog of goods. The May Day holiday is approaching, and many companies choose to suspend operations and continue to take breaks after the May Day holidays. Let's talk about related topics today. But before we do, we would like to invite you to subscribe. Your support is our greatest motivation and allows us to bring you more valuable content. Now, moving on. How big an impact will the US trade war have on us? We are an agricultural enterprise that has been engaged in production of baby pumpkins for 10 years. We have an annual revenue of approximately 14 million and export volume of 2.7 million, of which the United States accounts for $400,000, which is about 10% of our export sales. Tariffs were actually increased in the past 2 years, and we communicated with the purchasing party, and each of us took half of the burden to maintain the order. The cost was increased again this year, and we discussed sharing the cost. At worst, we would make no money or less money on this order. However, the rate increase this time is really too outrageous. You can see that the orders from the US disappeared. There are still more than 20 tons of material in the warehouse prepared initially for the orders from the US, and there are 5 trucks on the way which will be put into the warehouse in the next 2 days. There are still 50 or 60 tons of material in the scarification warehouse, all of which prepared for the United States, but now we have to find other ways out. The Canton Fair, which opened recently, is one of the world's largest trade fairs and is held in Guangzhou every spring and autumn. However, faced with the high tariffs imposed by the US, many exhibitors found that they had almost no orders from the United States.
有中国厂家说
The challenge we're facing is not only the tariff issue, but also the issue of life and death. Because 60 to 70% of our business comes from American clients, we are under a lot of pressure now. We are basically maintaining active communication with our US clients, and everyone is watching and waiting for future potential changes. At the same time, we are also looking for new strategies, such as whether to engage in transshipment or sell the goods. The problem we are facing now is that we cannot sell the goods and cannot get the money back. The situation is still very serious. The two countries are at a stalemate and neither side is willing to give in, but in the end, it's us ordinary people who are the victims. Factories have to feed workers, and workers have to live, right? If you can't ship your goods out, then you can't collect your money. How are you going to pay everyone's wages? This is the first question. Second, we are facing the problem of unemployment. Some factories said that since this month when the tariff policy changed, some American customers have suspended their payment plans. They are also waiting and watching and have not yet officially paid the deposit. Millions of Chinese foreign trade factories have been affected by the US-China trade friction, and US orders have almost dropped to zero. Online videos show that starting from May 1st, more than 50% of foreign trade companies in Zhejiang province will stop working and take a long break. This phenomenon has spread from Zhejiang to major export centers such as Suzhou City in Jiangsu province and Dongguan City in Guangdong province, becoming a microcosm of the current cold winter of China's foreign trade. It's over. It's over. There is no work to do. It is too hard for foreign trade factories this year. They will be on break starting today. It said that there are no orders now. I asked my leader and he said it would take at least 3 months. What should I do? Do I have to eat dirt for these 3 months? I have parents and children to support. I feel bad today. I just met a client. Under the heavy blow of US tariffs, a factory with more than 400 employees has stopped working. I saw that he was very tired and he was still trying to find a way out. He pretended to be relaxed and made a few jokes. To be honest, I couldn't relax. They stopped accepting orders shipping and producing 2 days ago. At the same time, the workers' wages were reduced to just maintain their living expenses. Those who want to stay can stay and wait together for a while, and those who don't want to stay are asked to leave. He asked me to give him a cost list for opening a factory in the Middle East and arrange for an inspection in May. What else can we do? We have to keep moving forward. The economy deteriorates in 2025, and this is just the beginning. The real estate market collapses, physical stores close down, and a large number of factories have no orders. Everyone is in trouble. Maybe June will be a turning point. There are no orders at all, and nothing left to compete with in this vicious competitions. What follows is a wave of unemployment, and what follows is... I won't go into details here because my words are too realistic, which will cause the video to be censored. Many people may not like to listen to these kinds of words. Originally, this kind of video is meant for people who like to think independently. I have also experienced several ups and downs and seen all kinds of storms. Think about it, back then, as long as we could endure for some time and work a little harder, we could reach a new level, and there was still room for improvement. But now I feel really confused and helpless. It's not too bad for a person unable to see the future. The most terrible thing is that you see the future clearly at a glance. How big an impact would the US tariff have on our domestic companies? I am really shocked today. I came to Shanghai to buy a sofa from my best friend. What happened? There are only 2 or 3 warehouse managers in her factory of tens of thousands of square meters. I asked her what is going on. She said the business has closed a long time ago because the daily cost was over 14,000 and she couldn't afford it, so she let all the employees go. I felt really heartbroken after watching this and didn't know how I could help her. Let me show you, these are all in stock. These are all sofas and they are originally planned to be exported to the US. This is just one floor. There are several floors upstairs and downstairs. All the employees are gone. They are all time off. There was no one in such a big factory. After several rounds of tit-for-tat tariffs between China and the US imposed a minimum tariff of 145% on all Chinese goods. This is equivalent to sentencing China's foreign trade to death because China can only dump its foreign trade goods to other countries, and other countries do not have such huge purchasing power as the US. In order to prevent a massive influx of Chinese goods, other countries will also impose high tariffs on Chinese goods and conduct anti-dumping measures to protect their own industries. Do you think you will win the Sino-US trade war by not taking orders from the US? Wrong. This is just a helpless act. Do you think you have lost only the American market? In fact, the fate of global trade has been rewritten. I can tell you without exaggeration that the US market is like the Pacific Ocean, while other markets are at best like Taihu Lake. The tide is about to recede now. Do you think the water in Taihu Lake will dry up first, or the water in the Pacific Ocean? The US-China trade war conflict comes at a time when China's economy is at its weakest in decades, making the already dire situation even worse. Shanghai's prosperity is gradually fading and consumption is downgrading. The current situation in Shanghai is that all larger companies like Tesla, Ping An, and Huawei are laying off employees and cutting salaries, not to mention smaller companies. The bosses themselves are having difficulties, and now many companies have even begun to delay paying salaries. The shops on the street are everywhere for rent or sale. Under the current circumstances in Shanghai, the number of people who can make big money is less and less. Like ordinary employees, many have to rely on credit cards and online loans to make a living, and they work hard all month but don't earn much money. It's even more difficult for people who buy houses. They work so hard, but it's still not enough to pay off their mortgage. To put it nicely, the economy is called consumption downgrade. To put it bluntly, it actually means that people have no money in their pockets. Nowadays, young people can forget about saving money. It's good enough if they have no debt, and this is the current situation of young people in Shanghai. The economy is really bad now. At 12 o'clock noon, there is only one table of customers in such a big restaurant. My God, today is Sunday. How can it be so bad? I came here 2 years ago during the pandemic. There were every 2 cubicles a table, and each table was full. Why is the attendance so poor even though the epidemic is over? Maybe it's because this restaurant is too expensive.
也没多贵吧？能有疫情期间贵吗？没有。
It's not that expensive, right? Can it be more expensive before the pandemic? No, right? It's $7 more expensive than others. Maybe it's $4 more expensive than other places, not reached $7 yet. People may think the price-performance ratio here is not high. In fact, the average cost per person here is only $14. Everyone went to the restaurant for $7 per person. Yes, what does it mean? It means it's hard to make money now. People don't dare to eat out anymore. How do you think consumption can increase? How to revitalize consumption? How can we boost domestic demand? No way. So the best way is that the government gives out money. Otherwise, everyone is saving money and is afraid to spend it, remaining pessimistic about the future, so they save money just in case. The three famous commercial streets in Shanghai are usually referred to as Nanjing Road, Huahai Road, and North Sichuan Road. These streets are renowned for their bustling commercial activities and long history, attracting a large number of tourists and local residents. But now they are all deserted. This North Sichuan Road was once one of the three major shopping streets in Shanghai, and its popularity was no less than that of Nanjing Road and Huahai Road. It is really hard to imagine that Sichuan North Road has become so desolate today. The Masses Cinema, crowded with people in its heyday, has now become a small grocery market where only the elderly from the neighborhood occasionally come to shop. The four major department stores in the past, Spring Department Store, 7th Department Store, Fuhai Shopping Center, and Dongbao Department Store, have all been closed. Westlake Hotel used to be a time-honored state-owned brand. It was hard to get a table in the past, but now only one old building is left. The old businesses on Sichuan North Road have declined. How are the newly opened shopping malls? This is also the area with the most office buildings in Sichuan North Road. We looked at the B1 and B2 floors and saw only 2 stores left, with only one buffet restaurant upstairs, which was still somewhat popular. Chipu Road, Garment City, used to be the wardrobe of Shanghainese, but now most of the shops along the street on the first floor of this clothing city are vacant. And the same goes for the stalls inside, which are barely able to maintain their operation. All floors above the second floor of another clothing store next door have been closed. Overall consumption at Chipu Road, Garment City has shrunk by at least half compared to its peak period. Why has the once glorious Sichuan North Road become so desolate today? I am now at the Lujiazui World Financial Center in Shanghai. There is no one on the entire street at noon. Where are the white-collar workers? Where are the pretty office ladies? These are all the headquarters of major banks, as well as various securities and financial center buildings. There should be a lot of white collars here. Where have all these people gone? After walking around for a long time, I couldn't even find a restaurant or a food court to have a simple meal. Is this still the big Shanghai that creates a 700 billion GDP a year? How strange. Where are the people? There are not as many people as in my hometown. The trade war that everyone is most concerned about has caused some factories to close overnight. So, as an ordinary family, what should we do? My family has made 3 long-term plans. First, save as much money as you can. Don't consume anything that is not necessary. Don't change your house or car, and don't buy those high-end things. If possible, reduce the number of extracurricular tutoring classes for your children, and try to help your children with their homework yourself. If that doesn't work, use online classes instead of one-on-one tutoring. Second, maintain a good mood. Remember to reduce all mental stress in your life, especially with your family, husband, and children. When you encounter something, please remember 3 points. It's not necessary, it cannot go so far, and it doesn't matter. Third, keep exercising. Good health is the capital of revolution. The most important thing to withstand the storm is to have a good body. As long as we can do these 3 points, resisting any trade war will not be a problem. Let's start saving money from today. That's all for today. If you enjoy our content, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with a friend. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.